What is going on out there, world? It's your boy Tommy on the spot. We got Steve on the other side here. Welcome to a very special edition of Disney 101. Today is Today is Thursday, November the 8th. It's so much going on here. Everything is moving by super quick. Just a couple weeks away, we'll probably have a big Christmas tree, maybe a menorah, something like that. Make things a little bit festive here. But in the world of Disney, of the Disney parks, it's already the holiday season. Steve, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I was going to say, please don't make this week any longer than it needs to be.
Oh, I know. Yeah, geez.
Yeah.
I am on a 3-day weekend myself now after today, so I'm excited about that.
See, I have my 3-day weekend on the other side, so I'm off Monday because of Veterans Day. So I have my 3-day weekend coming up.
Now, with that Veterans Day, does that mean that obviously schools are closed, but I know not all businesses are now. Post offices are closed too, right? And all government buildings?
I think so. Maybe.
There you go. Well, it's been a long week. Were you able to get out to the polls and vote this week?
I was, yeah. So the great thing about Florida is that we get early voting. So I don't remember when it actually starts, but we actually voted the weekend last Saturday. So we were able to actually go to our voting location, vote early. And I love it because even though, like myself, I could have probably made it there after school real quick, but it just makes it so much more convenient to get out and vote.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And no matter who you're voting for, it's always important to do that. I will say this year was truth be told, one of the first times my wife and I did get out to vote, and it was nice to do so. It was good to be out there in the polls. It seemed like everyone was kind of coming together, giving out little stickers. And I will say voting is super over as well. We put a little picture of with the little stickers, voting stickers, and people were saying how proud of us they were the whole week, which, I think it gave us an idea that like we need to be more aware of like some of what's going on in the real world. And on top of that, made us feel a little bit, we realized that it's an important thing to do. And so hopefully everyone who was able to do that was able to go out and do just that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I think it's great that, the I voted stickers has become a trend, and it's like, okay, hey, whatever works, like, let's get people out to the polls if that's what's going to take, whatever.
Absolutely. Were you able to check out Mickey Mouse's 90th Spectacular?
We watched a little bit of it. There was something else on, honestly, that we were watching instead. I don't remember what it was. I think
I'm assuming The Walking Dead. Is that
no, it was Doctor Who. That's what it was. Doctor Who.
Oh, there you go. It was one of these things where I've been so off with the calendar recently. I had the Mickey's 90th on November 11th. I had I was telling Steve earlier, this big WrestleMania official kickoff celebration party that I was about to call up and see if we could negotiate different times to make Disney 101 work this week, because I was heading there. Then I realized it was next week. So been all over the place. I did hear, though, one thing I heard that was really cool about Mickey's 90th was they did bring back some of the old original Mickey Mouse Club members to come out and talk about Mickey and everything to that extent. Did you happen to see that?
No, I didn't see. There was a lot of it that I didn't catch. So
I know I was surprised they didn't bring back like Timberlake and Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears.
I mean, considering how, like, it's sad to say, but the 90s are back in like all of the fashion and like music and like a lot of retro stuff going on from the 90s. So you would think capitalize on that, especially with all the new like merchandise and all that stuff that Disney is turning out about like the 90s Disney movies and stuff. You would totally think that would be on the top of their list.
Yeah, and I will say too that I was surprised, but in typical Disney fashion. So one thing I love about Disney is whenever they have any sort of event or anything, they always use it as a bit of a marketing tool too, right? Like here we have Mickey's 90th. So let's bring out every single one of the Disney Channel stars to promote their little shows while coming out and saying something about Mickey as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever watch the Christmas parade, that's like it's filmed. Spoiler alert, and
Well, we're going to talk about that.
Well, not the Christmas parades that happen during the the Christmas parties. I'm talking about the Christmas parade that they actually air on Christmas Day on ABC. That's
Okay.
filmed. I'm pretty sure it's coming up in like a week or so. But it's basically all the commercials and everything are all ads for like Walt Disney World and Disneyland and Disney Cruise Line and ABD and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's and not only that, but they also have uh, a lot of the. I remember the old school Disney Christmas parade. Doing a deal where they basically were promoting the launch of the Disney's Tower of Terror, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I do
That one,
remember that too. Yeah.
yeah, I remember them acting like it was the scariest, most insane attraction of all time, and really pumping it up. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Actually, they do a good job in that. I remember last year, if I'm not mistaken, they were promoting Toy Story Land.
Yeah, there's always whatever the next big thing, as much as they don't like to hype Brock Lesnar, as much as whatever the next big thing is that's coming down the pike for Disney is what they'll just push heavily.
Absolutely. So before we could really get going here today we're going to try to do a Disney Christmas primer for the parks. We'll get into a little bit of news, not too much, and then what we'll do is we'll close with if there's time with some attractions that maybe need a little bit of a dust up. Maybe wouldn't be too sad to see them go. Before we do, though, we do want to let you guys know to please do hit that subscribe button if you like what you're seeing, and make sure you leave a like on here as well. And you can actually follow us over on Twitter over at Disney 101 Pod. And shout out to the fine folks on Twitter, including, let me make sure I get this name right here, at Disney Duder, who was able to, who gave us the old retweet and help spread the word about tonight's show. So definitely appreciate that. Make sure you guys go and check us out over there. Both of us are both of us are helping out and updating that Twitter. Shout out to Steve today, by the way, who wrote a really good preview for our show here tonight. So thank you for that. And all right, so before we get into that, did you hear about? There was something that I wanted to quickly talk about before we get into the stuff about the holidays. Let's take a look here. Where was this? Oh, so Tom Hanks says an emotional ending for Toy Story 4 will be a moment in history. Did you hear about this?
I did not know.
He says, let's see here. Tom Hanks said, I didn't want to see them and I want to pretend they couldn't see me. When I realized they weren't going for it, I realized, oh, this is a moment in history. He said Toy Story 4 is going to have an impactful ending, noting that the story of Woody, Buzz, and the gang has emotionally resonated with fans since its early release in 1996. I'm getting this over from WDW News Today. So Tim Allen said about the movie that's coming out and the final scene, I've got to resist getting emotional. I don't want to give it away, but this is an incredibly great story. It is so emotional. It is so funny. It is so big that the idea I've come up with, I'm startled. The idea they've come up with, I'm startled. I couldn't even get through the last scene. I would love to be a Washington leaker. I just can't do that. I can't give any more money away. So that's coming out in 2019. Any idea what you think this could be?
I don't really want to speculate because honestly, I got choked up I still do sometimes at the end of Toy Story 3. Not like the very, very ending, but when they're in the when they're in the landfill and they're like going down in and like I think it's like when Bullseye is like struggling to like climb up and then and Jesse just reaches to him and like touches him to like try and comfort them and like they all just embrace and everything. That gets me every single time. So I can only imagine what is coming in store for us now because I can't imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. I also am wondering, where they're going to go from there. Because you keep hearing all these different things and theories of different situations that could potentially be about Andy. I don't think they're going to get dark with it like people are saying, but it's crazy though. So
I mean, the thing is about Dark is that Disney, especially like a little bit older Disney, is no stranger to killing off characters, especially meaningful characters. Like, you want to talk about Disney characters that have both started and ended the the movie with the same amount of parents. It's a very small list.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see where they go from there. I had heard some theories about the idea that Andy is if he's going to die, or if it's going to be a situation where he had been dead this whole time or something like that. I don't know, but
I think that's stretching. But I mean, the thing is that since he went off to college, and in the last couple of like little mini specials that they've kind of thrown out there, most of it has revolved around the toys in their new environment with the new. I'm blanking on the kid's name, but the new kid, the little girl. It's so I don't think it. I don't know if necessarily it's going to have a whole lot to do with Andy. It might have to do with the toys somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it'll remain to be seen there exactly what happens in terms of that. Another thing I wanted to quickly mention. I don't know if you had heard this. Literally broke about an hour ago from the Walt Disney Company. They've announced the new name of the Disney streaming service. Have you heard about this?
I have not. No.
Oh, so breaking news to you. It is going to be called the Disney Plus streaming service. And one of the things that they announced for the show, for the lineup rather, is a Star Wars show as well as a Marvel show. And it said that the Star Wars show will follow the adventures of Rebel spy Cassian Andor during the formative years of the Rebellion and prior to the events of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Diego Luna will reprise the role of Andor, which he originated in the 2016 film, and that's how they're going to go out from there.
Interesting.
And then from the deal of Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're going to confirm that Marvel Studios is developing a series based on Loki, the god of mischief, to star Tom Hiddleston. So Loki is brother of Thor, right?
Yes, he is, and I had heard about that too, which is interesting.
Yeah. So they said the new projects join an impressive slate of films and series planned for the Disney Plus that includes new stories set in the worlds of Disney Pixar's Monsters, Inc. and the Disney Channel's High School Musical, as well as A Galaxy Far, Far Away. And that's going to be obviously The Mandalorian, which was the original series based on Star Wars. So Disney's coming out of the gate hot with this streaming service when it launches. Do you think it's something you're going to be interested in signing up for?
I could see being interested in it, and as I think they've seen the huge success that Netflix has had with their original content and saying, well, look at our production company and look at what we're capable of. Let's just go ahead and do that too. Like, why not?
Yeah. It's interesting to see how they go with this. And kind of take on Netflix. And I will say, one of the things I've heard people say about Netflix recently is that almost everything on their service now is a Netflix original, the Netflix original series, Netflix original movie. So it'll be interesting to see if Disney goes that way, or if they start to roll out some of their library as well. If they start to roll out some of their library, might be a first-round knockout. Disney might really do well with this.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can just think about all of the IP that they have at their disposal that they could just, without blinking an eye, if they did 10% of the available inventory that they have, it would be ridiculous. So, I mean, they have so much stuff that they could do.
Yeah, it's completely crazy, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how it comes out, and where they go from there. Now, let me ask you on a completely unrelated note, Steve. Do you have any plans for this year's New Year's Eve?
I feel like this is a leading question. I don't have any plans right now.
Well, this year, I know that you've always been a little hesitant. We're going to get into more of it a little later. Going to the Disney parks for New Year's Eve, based on the massive amount of people that go there and the major crowds. Luckily for you, though, if you'd like, the Walt Disney World has just announced a New Year's Eve beach party for Disney's Fall Wilderness Lodge, Fall Wilderness Resort and Campground. Looking for a more relaxing way to bring in the new year. On Disney, December 31st, 2018, guests can partake in the Fort Wilderness New Year's Eve beach dessert party on Clementine's Beach. And from there, guests will be treated to a variety of desserts, cheeses, fruits, and drinks, including a selection of beer and wine. Personally speaking, I would have preferred if they kept with Walt's vision and instead gave out a collection of fruit juices and soda pop. But I guess for New Year's Eve, maybe that wouldn't have worked. maybe that wouldn't have worked so well. In case you guys wondered what that was by there, I made a joke and then chuckled at my own joke immediately following. Let's see what else they had to say about it. Selection of beer and wine from the designated viewing area of the beach. Guests will be able to take part in the Views of the Magic Kingdom's Fantasy in the Sky New Year's Eve Fireworks Spectacular. The event starts at 10 a.m. and will run until 12:30. Prices start at $59 and then go up for $99 for adults. So what do you think about that?
I think it is a great option for people that are staying on Disney property during that time and do not necessarily want to deal with the crowds and the hustle and bustle and everything of either Magic Kingdom or Epcot.
There you go. Now, I guess we could kind of start there since we're going to be talking about kind of a Disney Christmas primer today. What is it like? Have you ever been to the New Year's Eve fireworks?
Absolutely, yeah. So actually, as a matter of fact, the first time that my wife and I came down to Disney to visit on vacation, we actually came down for New Year's Eve. The first day we were in the parks was New Year's Eve, and we decided to go to Epcot because we had heard that the Magic Kingdom fireworks are awesome, but also Epcot is a little bit more spacious and that kind of thing. The first time that we came down and one of the first experiences that we had with the Disney parks in general was Epcot on New Year's Eve. And it was definitely really crowded. And we were thinking, oh my God, what have we gotten ourselves into? We had a lot of fun though, because we had a lot of drinks. And at one point our first memory that we have of Disney World that's a little bit fuzzy, but it is what it is sitting on the steps to the Mexico Pyramid and thinking, like looking back up and thinking that it's like the scene from Rocky when he's running up the stairs and like the stairs and stairs and stairs. If you've ever been there, there's about maybe 6 or 7 steps, but to our minds and, call it the Disney magic or whatever you want to call it, we were like, oh my gosh, there are so many steps. Why did they build this pyramid so big? And then we went back a couple of days later and we were like, did that change? I don't remember it being like that. That's awesome. Yeah, so that was one of our first. And then naturally working in the parks as well, I had experience working in the parks during Epcot New Year's Eve fireworks, as well as the Magic Kingdom New Year's Eve fireworks. Magic Kingdom it doesn't stop 100,000 people from trying to, but I don't know why anyone would want to do that.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds awesome though. Go ahead.
No, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's like most New Yorkers are like, why would you ever want to go to Times Square during New Year's Eve? And yet there are thousands of people, but there's actually, I don't know if it's just Magic Kingdom or the whole parks in general, but there are more people there than there are in Times Square. So you can kind of think about that in terms, if you've ever been to the New Year's Eve fireworks or, the show in Times Square, think about that, but a lot more people. And that's an idea of what the Magic Kingdom fireworks are like.
That is crazy. Wow. Well, one of the things and have you ever been to the one in Magic Kingdom?
I've been as a cast member. I haven't gone to, we never experienced the Magic Kingdom fireworks as guests, but I've seen the Epcot fireworks a couple of times.
Which one would you say is the more impressive fireworks? And do they go off right at midnight?
They do. So I honestly think Epcot is better. It's overall experience, Epcot is a better option than Magic Kingdom. First and foremost, because there is more space. So anyone that is claustrophobic, the biggest piece that I can give you is if you want to be in Epcot for the New Year's Eve fireworks, but do not necessarily want to deal with a lot of the crowds and a lot of the pushing and shoving and that kind of thing, stay out of the World Showcase. Especially, like, you can go a little bit, don't go too far, because those bottlenecks that happen, say, for example, between like the beginning of it when you go to the right and kind of into Canada, that bottleneck is 100 times worse. And the bottlenecks that happen a little bit further around the countries, they can get absolutely ridiculous because there's so many people. You have people counting, like, you have people camping out for the fireworks hours in advance, hours and hours in advance.
I'm sure there's people that go there and spend the whole day there waiting for the fireworks.
Yeah. Like, they will go at Park Open and immediately make a beeline for the World Showcase and stay there because they know that that's going to be the best spot for the fireworks and they're not moving. Alternatively, there are a lot of other extra spots that they do open. If you ever have kind of been around there are little pieces of like little ponds and stuff when you're walking like in between Future World and the World Showcase. And you see like there's little grassy areas. They will open up those little grassy areas. They gate off everything so you don't have access to the water or anything like that. But there are grassy areas that you can go, and if you prepare in advance and bring like a blanket or something like that, that is a perfect spot to go to because you're not as crowded and it's a lot more relaxed, and you can still see probably I don't want to say 100% of the fireworks, but the majority of the fireworks.
That is really cool. Wow. Well, there you go. That's that's quite nice. I will say, even just going to like Disneyland a couple weeks ago, one of the things I noticed was there's people that were trying to get a good spot for that nighttime parade they have there, like 4 hours before the parade had started. It got to a point where we thought something like super special was going on, and asked people like, "What is this for?" And they were like, "Oh, they're doing the nighttime parade tonight." We were like, okay, I mean, but you have to realize, I guess, there's people that it's their first time going to the park, and so they're excited to be doing it, and I guess that's why.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, most likely, yeah.
So last week, you were going to get into the Mickey's Not a Very Merry Christmas Party, and we'll get there in a sec. But since you mentioned Epcot, I figured it'd be a good way to kind of segue over to the Candlelight Processional at Epcot, as Disney's announced the full celebrity narrator lineup. Now, have you ever been to this?
So it's one of those things where the Candlelight Processional, because it takes place in the same the American Gardens Theater, the same theater where they do the Eat to the Beat concerts and all the other concerts that they have at Epcot during Food and Wine Festival and Flower and Garden. It's in that same theater. So I walked past as it's been going on. And it's a really cool experience because you have everybody dressed up. It's a very warm celebration, and there's a lot of, gospel singing and narration, and whoever the celebrity narrator is, they tell you the story of Christmas. And a lot of it's really cool because, especially depending on who the narrator is, Neil Patrick Harris has been doing it for years and years. He's one of the most popular ones. And I see that we have also a few new hosts too that I think are going to be really good too.
Oh, I'm looking at the list and I'm just like, man, I want to like move down to Orlando for this entire month and just keep coming back. There's some really cool ones there. We'll break down the entire list here in a sec, but yeah, I mean, as Steve was saying there, the Candlelight Processional presents the traditional story of Christmas with a celebrity narrator and a 60-piece orchestra and masked choir. The processional is performed three times per night at 5, 6, and 8:15 p.m. during the holiday season at the American Gardens Theater. They include a meal and guaranteed eat for one at the Candlelight Processional performances. So I will quickly go through the list here. And Steve, feel free to jump in with who people might know these people for, if you know who they are.
There's like one or two that I'm like iffy about, so I might have to do a quick Google for some of these here too.
All right. Well, the procession will kick off on November 22nd to November 23rd. And Chita Rivera is the celebrity who's going to be doing that.
I knew that was gonna. I mean, obviously, she's the first one to do it, so I knew that was going to be the first one that you did. She is in. Hold on, where did it go? So she's in Chicago. It also looked like she was in West Side Story.
Could be, yeah. That not the original West Side Story. I guess it would be. It's only one.
I think so. Hold on. Everybody else is yelling at us saying, "How do you not know who this person is?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, she was Anita. She was Anita in West Side Story.
Oh, wow.
And she was, and then she was on Broadway. So that's what it was. She wasn't in the movie. She was in the Broadway. She was in the Broadway version of West Side Story. So she's actually a big Broadway star. So she was in West Side Story. She was in Bye Bye Birdie. She was in Chicago. So like the original like Broadway version, not the updated movie versions, the original Broadway. So that's what so that would be why. So she's gonna, a lot of it, there is a little bit of singing to go along with the narration as well. So I'm sure that's probably why a lot of the celebrities that they've picked are also singers.
Gotcha, because they sing during the procession.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Helen Hunt is from the 24th to 25, known best probably for her role in the movie Panic Room. Am I wrong in saying that?
I mean, that's not the first thing that comes to mind. I also don't think that she's in Panic Room. I think that's Jodie Foster.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It might be Jodie Foster. Awful. Terrible. Helen Hunt was
I would know her, from like Twister and Mad About You As Good as It Gets.
Yeah. She's very famous. She's well accomplished. Thankfully, I threw out a random reference that wasn't even her. The next one, though, that one I know for sure, November 26th, 27th, Alfonso Ribeiro, known most as Carlton. And Carlton, of course, the inventor of the Carlton dance there, trying to do it here sitting on my couch. And he was also, I believe, in Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, he was.
And that's about it. I mean, he took a solid 15 years off, but that's cool, though, see him there.
Yeah. So I'll do the next one. We can go back and forth if you want. Sure. Robbie Benson from November 28th to 30th. And I know you do not know who that is, but you should.
Not even a clue. Who is Robbie Benson?
He plays the voice of the Beast in the original Beauty and the Beast movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's really cool.
Yeah.
This one I know, man.
That would be an interesting one.
I should come down from the 1st to the 6th because from the 1st to the 9th is just fantastic. John Stamos, known as, of course, for his role as Jesse Kansopoulos, as well as many other roles throughout Hollywood. That would be a fun one to go see.
I was gonna say Rebecca Romijn's ex-husband.
Oh, wait, they broke up?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I think you're right. Actually, yeah, a couple years ago. That's a shame. Next up, do you have the list in front of you?
Yes. So next up is going to be the one and only Neil Patrick Harris, December 3rd to 6th. Best known as a child actor playing Doogie Howser, MD, and I think that's really it. I don't know anything else that he's been in recently.
Oh no, I don't know. son of a gun over there. Obviously, also known for his role in How I Met Your Mother, and a variety of different things.
And one of like the biggest Disney nerds ever. Like, especially if you've seen any of like his Instagram or anything with his family dressing up as the Hitchhiking Ghost from Haunted Mansion this past Halloween. Yeah,
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, like, and he has a lot of Disney memorabilia that because he's Neil Patrick Harris, so he can. And it's just like anytime any of like the original pieces from like any of the attractions or anything ever comes up to auction or anything like that, he's always one of the first people to drop some money on it, because it's like, who doesn't want like original stuff from the attractions? Like, it's so cool. So yeah.
Yeah, and he also hosts the Disney Christmas Parade most of the time. I know the last couple of years he and one of my favorite athletes, Tim Tebow, have been hosting that. So it's been very cool.
Yeah.
Next up on the list, known primarily for her role as Buckwheat's mom in the remake of the Little Rascals movie, Whoopi Goldberg will be doing the processional. That's pretty cool. Gotta like Whoopi. Also known for many, many roles, but I remember her in that one. Thank God you have the next one.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I thought it was. We're going back and forth so that we can guess, but okay. So new for 2018 is from December 10th to the 12th is Bart Millard.
And what has he been in?
He has been in the contemporary Christian rock band Mercy Me.
Oh wow, that is pretty cool. Mercy Me's a good band.
Yeah, so that's him.
When we meet again on Saturday morning to talk about WWE Rock, Mercy Me, it would fit right into the stigma of WWE Rock from the early 2000s.
There you go.
Next up, Blair Underwood. Have you heard? I mean, they say he's been in this L.A. Law. I don't know him too well at all, though.
Yes. So at first I'm like, wait, no, not Carrie Underwood. Absolutely no relation to Carrie Underwood. So I think, you can kind of guess a lot of these things. A lot of the celebrities, if you don't necessarily know who they are, there's some sort of your best guess is that they have some sort of tie to something in the Disney family. And Blair Underwood has been in a bunch of Disney related things. He was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while. He's a voice in The Lion Guard on a Disney Junior animated show. And he's also on Quantico, which is also an ABC show.
Ah, there you go. You go.
Yeah, so he's in a lot of different things recently. He's not necessarily a character actor per se, but he's definitely a TV actor. We'll go with that.
Very cool. And he'll be there from December 13th to the 14th, December 15th to the 17th. Gary Sinise, who's been in a bunch of different things. What would you say he's most known for? Forrest Gump?
So either Forrest Gump or, to me personally, most near and dear to my heart, is he was the original Capcom in the Mission to Mars. So he was on Mission. He was in the movie Mission to Mars, but also he was in Mission Space. He was the original Capcom in the attraction.
Really?
Yeah.
And they got rid of that. He's not there anymore.
He's not there anymore. No.
Good to know, though. Wow. All right. Who's up next? Is this real? Is this really the next person?
I guess so. From December 18th to 20th, you can go and listen to Pat Sajak retelling the biblical story of Christmas.
So will he be singing?
I guess so.
Wow. All right. Well, the next one is probably one that I'm sure is going to sell out pretty much immediately. December 21st to December 23rd. Olilil Cravijo. I don't know how to say the name too well, but I know for a fact that is Moana. We should just call her Moana there. The voice of Moana will be there leading the processional. That's pretty cool. That's a great get for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who else is there? And then, all right, go ahead. You can go to the next one.
Next up, from December 24th to 25th, is Edward James Olmos.
So on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, he is the guy that is going to be. He's the big one, right?
Yeah, I guess you would say he's the big one.
Very, very cool.
Wait, and what do you know him from?
I feel I've heard the name, but I really don't know who he is.
He is it's again, he's been an actor for years and years and years. He was in Blade Runner. He was in Battlestar Galactica. He's been in a lot of, he was in Dexter because I kind of, no, actually, no, that was a good season of Dexter, actually. He's been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was actually in Blade Runner 2049 as well, or the sequel, the one that was with, I'm blanking on the other guy's name, the one that was not Harrison Ford. But I mean, he's been an actor for years and years and years.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Next up, Jodie Benson, who will be there on December the 26th and December the 27th, known, I guess, primarily as Ariel from the
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you what else she was in.
Yeah, but I mean, Disney loves her. I think she was inducted as like a Disney legend.
Yeah.
She's definitely somebody that they love. The only other thing I could think of, I'm pretty sure she was in Flubber with Robin Williams. I don't know how I know that, but I've been just seen the movie a million times. And then closing out, another one that had me like, huh, is
someone that's actually kind of near and dear to my heart growing up in Northern Virginia. December 28th to 30th, you can go and see Cal Ripken Jr., Hall of Famer third baseman for the Baltimore Orioles, the Iron Man himself.
That is pretty darn cool. What a cool deal they do there. That's fun. I'm surprised they don't have the actresses from Frozen do this.
They're very, 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 very busy as opposed to these celebrities who I know are only just very, very, very busy. But yeah, I mean,
sure, they've done them in the past.
I don't think they have.
Well, I mean, I know like who's the
so there's Idina Menzel. She plays Elsa,
right?
And then I mean, she would be a perfect choice. Don't get me wrong, and also so would. Hold on. I'm blanking. I hate blanking on celebrity names because I'm usually so good at it. Kristen Bell.
Ah, Kristen Bell,
who plays Anna. Yeah. And I see her every day when I'm on Instagram. So I don't know why I was blanking on her name. But yeah, I think I want to say there was someone from Frozen that did it once, but I can't remember who it was. I want to say someone that has been in Frozen that did it, but I can't tell you.
All right. Well, definitely check that out if you are interested in that. I guess now we'll transition into last week you left us with a cliffhanger of the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Now, have you ever been to this Christmas party, or is this something new?
The Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party has also been going on for a few years. I've had the good fortune to be able to go the last couple of years. I'm not sure if it's in the cards this year, but we've definitely gone in past years. And it is a really cool celebration, especially if you're a lover of anything at all Christmas related, as I know you particularly are.
I sure am. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. What takes place? What do you do at the Christmas party?
So there's a lot of there's a lot of things that they do at the Christmas party that they also kind of do for the Halloween parties. So first and foremost, you're going to have some very unique meet and greet opportunities with characters. One with characters that you don't normally have the opportunity to get meet and greets with, and also to maybe other characters that you do, but they're in their Christmas attire. So it's really cool to do that. You, of course, have some complimentary cookies and warm drinks. They've actually mixed it up the past couple of years. Originally, it was just sugar cookies and hot chocolate, and that's it. But they've actually mixed it up so that in different areas, you have the opportunity to try different cookies. So then, in one area, they might have some chocolate chip ones. Another, they might have more traditional sugar cookies. You might get some snickerdoodle cookies somewhere else, mixed up with some hot chocolate or hot cider, or some other sort of Christmassy hot beverage, which in Florida it could be very hit or miss as to if you actually need that hot beverage or not. Especially if you are coming a little bit earlier in the season, like the first party was tonight, and I believe the high was around 80 something degrees today. So
oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so Florida. So what can you do?
Now, I don't think there's any attractions specifically for Christmas, right?
The one that I do know that does, if they are doing it again this year, they've done it for a couple of years in the past now, is the Jingle Cruise.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so the Jungle Cruise transitions to the Jingle Cruise. So the boats are decked out with holiday lights and a couple of other different things, and they've swapped the adventures a little bit different with some. If you're familiar with the Jungle Cruise, it's very, very script and pun heavy, and the Jingle Cruise has some really good holiday themed puns. So if you are going to the Christmas party and don't normally necessarily ride attractions during the party, definitely check that one out because it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I saw they do basically some of the meet and greets I saw now. I did see Jack and Sally are back as Sandy Claus and Sally.
Yeah.
Then there, but I don't know if that's probably a part of the Christmas party, the Very Merry Christmas Party, right?
Yes.
I also saw the character trees. Minnie decked out in her Christmas garb out by the tree, and then there was a couple other trees, and there's a haunted mansion tree. Are these just for everyone, or is that also part of the party?
So those are going to be for everyone because it's a little bit harder to, schlep trees back and forth. So that's the other thing to say that if you're not necessarily going to the Christmas party, you can still take part in some of the Christmas festivities. That each of the parks is going to have a huge evergreen tree somewhere in the towards the front of the park, either in the main entrance area or maybe a little bit before the main entrance. Somewhere you have a huge evergreen tree that is all decked out and with unique decorations unique to that particular park.
Oh, wow. Very cool. It says here, attractions open during the event in Frontierland, Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Space Mountain. It says this year, many of your favorite experiences will be available during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, including one reimagined with holiday spirit. We don't know which one that is just yet because, as Steve said, today is the very first night. Do you know what it is?
I would guess it's the Jingle Cruise.
Well, that one wasn't listed, though.
Right, but if it's well, let me hold on.
It says they have a Frozen Holiday Wish, Once Upon a Christmas Time Parade.
Yes, so there usually for the Halloween parties, there's a stage show with it's Hocus Pocus and it's the Sanderson sisters coming out. But then for the Christmas parties, there's also another stage show. Again, in past years, it's been Frozen. Then
Frozen this year as well, a Frozen Holiday Wish.
Yeah, a Frozen Holiday Wish. Yep. So then you also have Once Upon a Christmas Time Parade, and that's also really cool because there's a lot of, again, it's a unique parade experience. You're only going to be able to see that parade if you actually go to the Very Merry Christmas Party. So it's a great, unique experience in addition to the Holiday Wishes, which is, it used to be a little bit more in conjunction with the fact that the normal fireworks show is called Wishes. But they've kept this Holiday Wishes. It still goes with the theme. And in addition to a couple of other entertainment offerings.
And is Santa on the parade? Is he a part of the parade too? Santa Claus himself?
Yes, he is going to be towards the end of the parade.
I had heard there was definitely some sort of deal with him and Disney because of the fact that on Thanksgiving Eve, he was unable to make it. He can only do I think he does every date except Thanksgiving Eve due to he was having the difficulty getting back in time to make the Macy's Day Parade here in New York City, but they turbocharged the reindeers. He's good to go. He will be there on Thanksgiving Eve and be able to make it to Macy's, hopefully for the final float down the Macy's Day Parade here in New York City.
Yeah, I think he was just being maybe a little bit lazy on that because, I mean, come on, the guy can circle the globe in 24 hours. I think he can make it from New York to Orlando.
Yeah, I know. He just didn't want to do it. Yeah, too much. He is too much.
But to get back about the attractions, so I will say that when you are on the main page at waltdisneyworld.com.disney.go.com, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party under the Treats, Greets, Attractions, and More, where it says attractions open during the event, the picture front and center is of the Jingle Cruise.
Gotcha.
So that would lead me to believe that the Jingle Cruise is open.
You're right. You're right. There it is. Very cool. That should be fun. I would. Have you been on the Jingle Cruise?
I have, yeah. Like I said, so yeah, it's really, they still. Some of the script is the same, but then a lot of it they try and mix it up and they try and do the Jingle Cruise, script instead. So it's kind of fun. And again, especially if you've been on the Jungle Cruise 1,000 times, if you haven't been on this one, you haven't been on this particular cruise. So it's really cool.
That is awesome. And then there's also so a part of all this that's the and you were saying it's a lot more expensive than the not so scary Halloween party.
Yeah, we were looking at prices and I was kind of surprised at that. But my theory is that because there are so many less parties uh, for Christmas than there were for Halloween, it's kind of maybe a supply and demand thing that we have going on here.
Yeah. Well, hey, milk the diehards. It's what WWE used to do with their pay-per-views. I mean, it's what is it? I think it's $105. Is it to get in?
Something, yeah. It's starting at $105. I believe annual pass holders and Florida residents could catch a break on that on select nights. But if you are not one of those two categories, then yeah, it's going to be $105 per event ticket. Um,
And how much was the Halloween?
Halloween got to down to around 70.
Oh wow, that is
Yeah.
really big. That's major difference.
Yeah. But you do have, like I said, some savory, delicious Yuletide sweets as you sip on seasonal beverages, all complimentary and available all throughout the park. Several holiday treat locations will be open until midnight during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, serving up a variety of complimentary direct delights. It also kind of maybe looks like there might be some sort of eggnog thing going on too. That would be kind of interesting.
That's really cool. Wow, that sounds like fun. Now there used to be something at Hollywood Studios, right? There used to be like the big lights or something to that extent.
You're hitting a sore spot, my man.
I know a lot of people are upset about it.
Holiday lights, yeah. So I mean, that brings me back to the first time that we ever came down to Disney, and it was during this time period. So we wanted to check out the Osborne Spectacular Dancing Lights. In my mind, I'm thinking, wow, Ozzy Osbourne and his family were able to set up holiday lights in Hollywood Studios. This is amazing. And then I came to find out that it was from some family in the Midwest somewhere.
And
But
they've got
no, it was so. I'm so disappointed that it's not there. I'm hoping at some point maybe it might come back somehow. I mean, they had to have done something with all of those lights. I know they didn't toss them, so they got to be somewhere in storage that they can just bring back out. But that was so amazing. Like the holiday lights, it was one of my favorite things to do.
yeah, it's a shame, and so they don't have anything now in Hollywood Studios.
That's not necessarily true. They do have the jingle. Hold on, let me get this right because you know me, I'm a stickler.
If you
Jingle
ever
Bell, Jingle Bam dessert party at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So there is a holiday nighttime show. So the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam, a Santa-sized spectacular, jam-packed with holiday music, fireworks, special effects, and dazzling state-of-the-art projections. So it's up and down Sunset Boulevard, and which is the area where Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster are. So
okay,
that area is where it is. But you can also, if you want to, get into the dessert party, which has. I'm looking at these pictures, and my mouth is watering because some of these desserts look amazing. Now, some of them you can actually purchase in the parks regularly, like some large shortbread cookies, Santa belt macaroons, which it's Santa costume in macaroon form, and some other holiday themed treats that look absolutely amazing. But you can get them in if you pay, your price for the dessert party. You can get all you care to enjoy. So there's always that option if you plan on going over to Hollywood Studios.
very cool. And I guess the other thing I wanted to quickly to mention there is also there's something called the Festival of the Holidays in Epcot. Have you been there for that? I know that's also on that's a big time suggestion a lot of people have there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a similar concept to Food and Wine Festival and Flower and Garden Festival and the Festival of the Arts, where they have some more additional kiosks and booths that are offering some unique holiday favorites from those particular countries. So whatever country you kind of maybe stop by, if that country happens to have some sort of seasonal either dessert or drink or whatever the case is, those different countries are going to have those desserts available.
Oh wow, very very cool.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. Before I also wanted to touch. So, Steve, if somebody is watching and they're like, "Hey, got my tickets for December 25th. I'm coming because I want to be there live for the Disney Parks Christmas parade, and I'm ready to go. And that's how I'm going to spend my Christmas morning." What reaction do you think they'll have when they come to the parks?
If they're coming to the park for that particular reason, they're going to be kind of disappointed because the Christmas parade that you see on television on December 25th is recorded about a month and a half in advance. So there's not really a special Christmas parade that happens on Christmas because there is way too many people in the parks for them to have a special parade like that. It would be absolutely a mob show. So they will have the regular parade, and which, speaking of which, I heard that the Maleficent Dragon is making a comeback soon.
Really?
Maybe. So if you are coming in December 25th, you might get a shot at seeing the Maleficent Dragon that had to depart for a little bit because of reasons.
Why did it have to depart? Was it breaking down?
No, it caught on fire.
Really?
Yeah.
During a parade?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's like a pretty iconic dragon.
Yeah. It caught on fire. There's videos of it if you want to look for it. But
it's like the Macy's Thanksgiving parade when the floats take off into outer space and
if they or if they like start to deflate mid parade or something like that, kind of like that, but with fire.
Yes. Oh my God, terrible. That's.
But yeah, so yeah, that's why it's a big deal that Maleficent might be making a comeback. But at any rate, the thing is, so I feel like one of the things about coming to the holidays during when. Yes, it's crowded, and yes, it's the busiest time of the year, but it's still most of the people are kind of still have that holiday spirit. You're going to, I think it's just because everybody knows they committed to coming during the busiest time of the year. So they were expecting these crazy long lines because you're going to be waiting hours for an attraction, especially if it's, one of the big ones. So I recommend, it's a little bit too late if you haven't already now, especially if you're staying on property, but get fast passes as soon as you can and take anything that you can get because, you might say, oh man, I don't want a fast pass for, Living with the Land, or I don't want a fast pass for Mickey's PhilharMagic, but you are going to be waiting on those lines for extended periods of time, no matter where you are. So take any time saver that you can get.
Yeah, that I can't even imagine that. That's just crazy. One thing I did want to also touch on, because I'm also sure if you're going down, you could probably also explore some of the resorts. I'm sure are all decked out for the holidays. Probably look great. But in kind of the theme of the parks parades, because when everyone thinks of Disney during the holidays, they do think of the parades. So I wanted to quickly mention that Disney is actually going to be doing 3 different parades this year. The Wonderful World of Disney Magical Holiday Celebration will be premiering on ABC on November the 29th from 9 to 11 p.m. The hosts will be Jordan Fisher from Dancing with the Stars Juniors and Sarah Hyland from Modern Family, as well as Jesse Palmer from Disneyland. Jesse Palmer, the old quarterback, which is weird. You're going to have performances from Gwen Stefani, Meghan Trainor, Brett Eldridge, Andrea Bocelli, Matteo Bocelli, Jordan Fisher, Aloe Black, Maddie Pope, and the chart-topping hit group Why Don't We? That'll lead us to the Disney Parks presents a 25 Days of Christmas Holiday Party, which will be kicking off Friday, November 23rd, and Saturday on the Disney Now app, or Saturday, December 1st from 8 to 8:30, hosted by Jordan Fisher, Ruby Rose, and Dakota Lotus. Brother Joe Lotus wasn't able to make it. He'll be hosting a party. Hosting a party here in Massapequa. So yeah, so you're going to be getting performances by Gwen Stefani, Brett Eldridge, Asher Engel, and Kurt Angle. No, it's terrible. And Meg Donnelly. And then finally, the Disney Parks Magical Christmas Parade, Tuesday, December the 25th, from 10 to 12, the annual tradition, with hosts Jordan Fisher, Sarah Hyland, and Jesse Palmer, and parade correspondents Trevor Jackson and Sierra Ramirez, with performances by that entire group of folks that I mentioned earlier. And that really should tell you all you need to know about these things being recorded ahead of time, because they have the same group for all of the performances there. Well, I'm assuming, and also, if I'm not mistaken, most of the people that are there are cast members, right? That you see like in the celebrations.
A good majority of them are, yeah. There are a lot of other. I mean, it's they don't necessarily like. This isn't something that they promote for obvious reasons. They're not going to say, "Hey, everybody, come watch our taping of our show of the Christmas parade." Can you imagine if the Macy's Thanksgiving parade didn't actually show up on Thanksgiving? Like, everybody would be like, their minds would be blown.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like to maintain and retain a little bit of that magic. They kind of don't necessarily advertise that. So, us cast members are more than willing to go and stand and, be a part of the celebration.
That is really cool. It's cool. I mean, we're probably crushing some major dreams here. I can confirm, because I do go most years, the Macy's Day Parade in New York City is live and is hectic and is crowded as can be. But slide into our Twitter over at Disney 101 Pod, or hit me up at Tommy on the Spot. I can give you some, tricks of the trade and places to go if you do want to see the Macy's Day Parade live and not in a major crowd. Any other pieces of advice you'd give people who are traveling down to the parks? Any things that, and you can go on, we won't go through every single thing, but like we said for Halloween, there's tons of different menu items, tons of different desserts, special different deals that you can go on and try while down here for the holidays. Even like they have different things for Thanksgiving, like different mashup type dishes that look really cool. If you go into we'll throw some links up on our Twitter, but definitely check out some of those. Those are really, I always say, if you're coming down for the holidays, go out of your way to try those specific dishes that are there for the holidays, and then basically stick to those dishes. You don't necessarily even need to go for the big holiday unless you're going to do it at the parties. You don't need to go for the big meals. Just try to have those small dishes that are specifically for the holidays while kind of bouncing around if you can, because a lot of those are really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And they fill you up quicker than you think if you stop at a couple of them. The only other piece of advice that I will say that you kind of touched on a little bit is definitely check out the Walt Disney World resorts. The deluxe resorts all have spectacular decorations, particularly just to throw it out there, the Grand Floridian, the Polynesian, the Contemporary Resort, as well as the Wilderness Lodge, and also the Boardwalk and the Yacht and Beach Club.
Oh, wow. Very, very cool.
Yeah. So all of them have, honestly, if you had to pick one or two spots, I would pick either the Contemporary, because they have they have the grand piano there that plays some Christmas music and that kind of stuff. They also have gingerbread making for the kids, or for the kids at heart. So gingerbread house making set up there. And also the Yacht and Beach Club and the Boardwalk have some really cool decorations. They'll have the mini trains, like the miniature train set up, and all the huge displays. And also they have, I forget which one. I want to say it's the Boardwalk because it makes the most sense. But it has a working replica of a carousel made completely out of chocolate.
Damn, that's cool. Are you going to head down there and check that out?
Always do. Yeah, that's one of the traditions that we definitely do. So if and when we make it down there, we'll definitely take some pictures and throw them onto Twitter.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And I know that so I'm assuming Disney Springs is probably pretty decked out as well.
Disney Springs is also a very good place. There's also, they did this last year. I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they did a lot of there was like a storybook trail that you could go to where there were a lot of different mini Christmas trees that were themed after movies. That was actually really cool too. So I haven't seen that they are doing that yet this year, but I'm sure they will, because it was really popular last year. And there's also you can meet Santa there. He makes us, he magically makes a stop over there, and a bunch of other things. So Disney Springs is actually a really good place too.
Awesome. So it's one of these things. Ari and I had discussed, like, we did Halloween this year. We've got to do Christmas at some point soon in the parks. Now, for folks like us, some Jewish brethren out there, is there anything for us at the parks?
There is a little bit. I think there is actually somewhere in Epcot. There is some, I'm blanking where exactly, but I'm pretty sure I saw when I was looking at it. Somewhere in Epcot, there are some Hanukkah dishes. So I think there's like potato pancakes and some corned beef and that kind of stuff. And there's also an exclusive line of Disney merchandise. If you go into the Christmas shop at Disney Springs, there's we have our own very little corner of Hanukkah decorations.
There you go. I will say a lot of the merchandise for Christmas looks fantastic. I think you can order some of it on Disney Parks, like online too.
You can either do the Shop Disney Parks or even the Disney Store, the official website. You should be able to get some of the merchandise on either website.
Very, very cool. Well, hopefully we got you guys all set for Christmas in the parks, the holiday. Yeah, I was going to say holidays in the parks, but then I was like looking at things and I don't see too much there for us folks celebrating all holidays. But
well, it's a salute to all holidays, but mostly Christmas.
Right, exactly. I love that they basically say Festival of the Holidays, and I don't even think the parades are called the Christmas Parade anymore. I'm pretty sure it's Disney Magic. All they do, Christmas Day Parade. But for a while, with everything politically correct and all that. And I will say, hopefully we didn't bum too many people out by saying that things are recorded for the Disney parades that are on television. I will say, while a lot of those fireworks are streamed live from New York City for Macy's, but a couple of years ago we got invited to go to a free Flo Rida concert. We went to go check out our boy Flo Rida, and we got down there. And he came out with Alan Thicke's son, who's like really a popular artist, but I know him more for being Alan Thicke's son. And Robin Thicke, there you go. They came out, they did I Don't Like It, I Love It. And then they said they had to do it again. And then they asked if we could do it again. And they did it 4 times. We were like, what is going on? And then they did a second song. They started that and they did it 4 times. And we were also very confused as to what was going on. And then he left. And that was it. And we were like, what just happened? And then we watched the Macy's Day fireworks spectacular and saw bits and pieces from all of the performances that we saw live, unbeknownst to us that we were there for that taping. And so a lot of times there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, they do something it's very, very similar for the holiday taping for the Walt Disney World and the Disneyland, the Christmas Day parades. The floats will kind of go back and forth, like 5 or 6 times, depending on how many shots they need. And it's a similar thing with the performances too. So,
well, I will say one of the things that was really cool, and we talked about it last week, and we put it up on our Twitter at Disney 101 Pod. Did you see the video of how they transformed from Halloween to Christmas in one day?
Oh yeah, and it's ridiculous. Like the amount of manpower and just sheer, just get it doneness that happens is absolutely ridiculous.
So someone said that their dreams were crushed. Someone on Twitter. I wish I remembered who it was, so I give them the credit. But they said something like that they were a little bummed to find out it wasn't just pixie dust that was causing all that, and instead it was manpower.
Yeah, but that's something that's a little bit more like, well, that has to happen somehow. So.
Exactly. All right. Well, we've already gone over an hour. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna have time to go into our attractions that maybe have seen better days. But what we'll do, we'll hold off on that till next week. Next Thursday, I will be, and if you guys are wrestling fans, we're really starting things back up. At least I am, on the Watch Along Wrestling Podcast at Watch Wrestle Pod. And Steve will actually be joining me over on that particular show, the beginning of that show, to talk about Survivor Series 2002. Next Thursday, we will not be able to record Disney 101 live on Thursday. We'll have to find an alternative time to do it because I will be at the WrestleMania ticket on sale party at MetLife Stadium next Thursday night. Looking forward to that as well. But we will find time to do the podcast. And one of the things that I'm actually looking into, there was a Run Disney event. Now, I don't know, there was some sort of race that recently took place. I don't know if it was at Disney World or Disneyland. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, it was here at Disney World. It was the Wine and Dine Half Marathon.
There you go. So one of Ari's friends took part in that. So try to see if I can get her on the show to talk about that experience a bit and maybe interview her and tell her what we're doing here. So we'll see how that goes. Don't want to throw any promises out about that, but we'll see if I can do that because I think that would be fun to kind of get a perspective from someone who did do that.
That would be really cool. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, enjoy the holidays at the parks. If you're going down there, make sure you let us know. Let us see your photos. Hit us up on Twitter at Disney101pod. If you like what you see, please do hit that subscribe button and also smash the like button. Anything else you want to add this week, Steve?
No, just as always, have a magical week, and we'll see you real soon.
All righty, everyone. Take care.